we concluding the 7 days mourning period for my father, we jointly mourn the 30-day period with my Aunt Gail, cousin Joey, Jackie, Sophia, and David. With our Aunt Esther, and Betty, and Rita, and Norma, and the late Aunt Sarah's family. By the way, we love Sharon, the Fort of our heart. Within the year of my great uncle Jack and Uncle Raymond. Moshe Simonto, Marvin Ezra, another powerhouse of our family goes down. Not only a tragedy for our family, a tragedy for the community. It says in the Pasuk, Vayamot Yosef b'chol echa b'chol ador ahu. Joseph died, all his brothers, in that very generation. But understand, Yaakov Avinu came down to Mitzrayim. He came down to Egypt. And it's the horrible, with 12 sons, with grandsons, in the horrible culture of Egypt. All the time that Yaakov was living, his influence was more powerful than the horrible influence of Egypt. When he died, all the time that Yaakov, all the time Yaakov was living, there's 12 sons living, they saw Yaakov, the Jews were protected from the horrible influence of the culture of Egypt. When they died, the grandchildren that saw that Yaakov Avinu, they were protected from the horrible culture of Egypt. When they all died, they started to be influenced in the horrible culture of Egypt. Okay, my great-grandfather came from Damascus with his children and his son-in-laws. Okay, with his son-in-laws. And he left a powerful influence in our family. Stadtdad, we call him. He passed away, but he left children. And the good son-in-laws, my Uncle Jack, my Grandpa Joe, Uncle Sion, a lot of my aunts, I hope and the other stuff will live more long. Now, one of his grandsons died. My father was heavily influenced. The remnant of that influence is fading away. My father was known as a warrior, fought wars for Hashem, confrontational, non-peaceful. My great-grandfather, his grandfather, was known for a peaceful person, or Hev Shalom, or Dev Shalom. But when Pinchas did a heroic act of killing some Nasi Israel, Nasi Israel, because of the Chil Hashem, it was looked upon as an unpeaceful act. People say that's a different personality than Aaron, who pursues peace, loves peace, and peace goes to God. But Rabbi Simcha Kohen writes that act that's not perceived as a peaceful act comes from the Aaron HaKohen, who is a peaceful person. Torah calls Pinchas a peaceful act. My father had that personality. In 1 second, he was a warrior for Hashem. In another second, he was a loving, sensitive human being. It was one personality, I know. 3 of his friends, 3 off-the-wall rabbis, they were his friends. Long time ago, when they went off and disbelieved in the Torah, he fought them with all lengths, and yet, at the same time, being a loving, kind, sensitive person to many people. The Rambam, and listen to this. In the time, the Rambam writes, in the time of Rabbi Gamliel, increased the heretics, the people who disbelieved in Torah, and they're turning away people away from Hashem. The Chachamim saw that this was the greatest deed of all these people. They got up and they established another prayer to ask and beseech God to destroy these disbelievers. And they established the prayer and to be frequently in the house of alms. And they find we have 19 prayers. You see that the Holy Rambam writes, this is the greatest need of all needs. We're talking about wisdom in Torah, health, livelihood, redemption, Jerusalem. And the Rambam writes, this is the biggest need of all needs of a human being. My father was a forefront in this community of the biggest need of this community to fight the heretics, the disbelievers of the rabbis of the Talmud. People who said that the rabbis of the Talmud don't know what they're talking about, he fought them hard. And that's the biggest need of all community needs. Okay. Now, it says in the Torah, oh, by the way, I have to get with his friend, Rabbi Chaim Weintraub. Also fought with him. It says in the Torah, Banim atem Hashem Elokechem am kadosh ata Elokecha b'cha b'cha Hashem kol ha'amim. The Torah says, you're sons of God, or daughters of God. You're a holy nation. And in you, singular, He chose you from all nations. The Sifri says, each and every one of you is like many nations. Let's think of billions of people. Keep 7 mitzvot, b'nei Noach. And they thank God all day long, and they pray. One Jew, little Jewish child, is more endeared to Hashem. More endeared to Hashem than billions of goyim going being perfect. Now my father saw a Jew. He didn't care about the external influence. What he saw was a son of Hashem or a daughter of Hashem from the holy nation. That's what he saw, and he went high cylinders to do what he can and all lengths. That's my father. Rav Shach, quoting from the Chavot, adding from the Chavot Levavot, the duties of the heart. Rav Shach said, if a person wants to seek and open his eyes and see miracles like Egypt, talking about food falling out of skies, water coming out of rocks, sea splitting, revelations from Mount Sinai. He says, look at the religion, especially studying the depths of the Talmud with its commentaries, with its sweetness. You have to understand, Rav Shach lived after 200 years. After 200 years. 200 years of heretics, disbelievers, people, conservative, reform, Zionists, removing many, many Jews from the religion. And so pure, by logic, there should be no religion, especially studying the depths of the Talmud with its commentaries and the sweetness. Because there's a guarantee, Torah, the study of the depths of the Talmud, the commentaries and sweetness will not be forgotten. Torah, Rashi writes, it was Avtacha. You have to understand that's only a minority of Jews. I remember a 60-year-old survivor of the Holocaust. He came about Tshuva at 60 years old. Asked him why. Because he says when he was in the Holocaust, he didn't know why he was saved, but he knew a higher power pointed the finger, you're going to live. Each and every one of these have to know. You have an Abba Gedolah Me'od. Abba Gedolah Me'od. You're a walking miracle. He studied the depths of the Talmud with its commentaries, with its sweetness. You're a walking miracle. Like water out of rocks, food falling out of the skies. You have to understand. You're being picked. You have your Jews because most Jews are not. You're a minority. Going shore. It's a walking miracle. Like the miracles of Egypt. Now you have to, my father's life mission, he came to this world, was one thing. He had a life mission. That the mission he sent was the shlichut, his tafkid, his purpose was that Torah should not be forgotten. The study of the Talmud with its depths, with its sweetness, should not be forgotten in this generation, especially in the Syrian community. Hashem said, "Neshama gedolah." Let's understand that. You have to understand that. You have to understand when a person, not that a person has money, is gifted with money, he has an obligation to do tzedakah. His mission is a God-sent mission to explore Torah and give charity, so he has a business. Not that a person is gifted with an educator and he has a system. His mission is to be an educator, so that's why he has a system of education. You have to understand, my father, right, his system, he was God-sent system of being the guarantee of Torah will not be forgotten, talking about the study of the Talmud, with its commentary and its sweetness. So his system of life was with miracles, like Mitzrayim. That's how he lived with his partner, Chaim Weintraub. That's how he lived. That's how he operated. That's how he lived. That's how he operated. And that was his God mission. To carry out the guarantee that Torah, the study of the Talmud, with its commentaries and sweetness, in this generation, mainly in the Syrian community, the generation especially, the Syrian community, Hashem pointed his heart finger and said, chose you, because it's a minority. He chose you. You need your walking miracle. Each and every one of you go to shul, keep kosher. Like the miracles of Egypt. Now, my mother's family, the Cohen family, no. There was a Abba Gedolah Me'od from the time that you were in Egypt. Many people in Egypt went to France, went to Israel. They're totally not religious. But Hashem chose you. A Cohen family, Hashem was pointing the finger. And that family, that family is going to be Adoi Yesharim. Wives going to Kollel. Wives wearing rabbis that study the Talmud. Children coming out of them, studying the Talmud, its commentary, and its sweetness. Okay. And it was just a matter of time when my mother came to America and met my father. I met my father many years ago. It was not just a marriage proposal. It was a miracle, chosen that Torah should not be forgotten in the Cohen family. When my mother said yes, that family was done. There was going to be Torah in that family forever and forever. That's a Abba Gedolah Me'od, and that's my mother's family, the Cohens. May Hashem help my grandma, Nunna, with long life and health. May my father pray for our family and his students to give us the Abba Gedolah, that Torah, which means the study of the Talmud with its commentaries and sweetness should not be forgotten from our mouths of our descendants. Please Hashem, please my Father, pray for my brothers, sisters, and my wife, and your wife, and my mother. My mother, you're what my father could not have done without you. You also lived with a system of the miracles of Egypt, not with the confines of realities of other people. You should have health. You should see nachas from your descendants. May your husband be a Melech Yosher on the door, and mainly on the certain community that Torah, which means the study of the Talmud with its commentaries, which its sweetness, should not be forgotten. Amen.